Okay, so once we installed the app on the phone, we tap on it and it asks if we want to connect to the lock by as an administrator or as an invited guest. So now we show as an administrator mode, and here we tap in preferred lock name, just like lock 1, and I can type the security code in, or I can read it from this security card which is provided with the lock, and I can scan it with the camera, and then everything is added in. So now here is the lock itself, and with the tap finish, it adds to the app, and by tapping find, it tries to connect with the lock via Bluetooth, and it asks if I'm sure I want to pair to this device, and I tap yes, of course, and after it's beeping, it's ready to use. So now I can unlock and I can lock the hardware. So now we have one lock here, and we can add multiply locks, by the way. Okay, so by tapping on the settings of this lock, we can set here, modify here the name of the lock, or we can set the auto lock delay with this slide. It means when the door is shut, then it automatically locks the door, and this is what we can set here. Here is a relocking function, which also can be disabled or can set to a given time, which means if somebody opened the lock by the phone, by the app, but after that doesn't enter the house, then it relocks the lock after a while to avoid forget it in open state. Here we can set the volume of the beep. Yeah, this is the beep sound of the lock itself. Yeah, I can set it different loud levels, volume levels. And this is the double button mode, which means if you see the lock over there, I can open it not only by phone but by pressing these buttons on the lock, physical buttons. And if I tap, if I set on double button mode, then it doesn't work by pressing one button, only by pressing both buttons simultaneously. So this is this function. I disable now. Over here we can set the no charging identification, because the lock itself has a physical LED which blinks in yellow if it's not under charging, the built-in battery, and I can disable this or enable this, and if the user doesn't want, then it will not blink in yellow if there is no charging. Okay, here's a send notifications function, which is the new function. This is the reason we uploaded the new version of the app. This is the function why you actually asked us to send this video. And this is something like if somebody commits a break-in attempt and somehow opens the lock mechanically without an order sent from the app, then it sends a notification, an alert notification. So now, the door is open. Now I show you the auto lock function as well. If the door is shut, then it locks automatically. This is the function I displayed before. Yeah, now it's locked. And if somebody opens the lock, I will represent it with this screwdriver, and if I open the door, and there is the opening order is not from the application, as you see on the phone, this alert, if the app is running, that this alert display comes in, and also here is a notification on the phone which also opens this screen if the app is not running at the moment. But if you tap on the notification, then it opens the app and show this alert, this screen. Okay, so and the last things here you can see the log type and the actual firmware version, and down here this is the last thing in the settings menu. By tapping this you can delete the log. Okay, now I tap no, but by pressing yes it deleted the log from the app entirely. Okay, these are the settings of the app. Okay, so going into the settings menu again, here are settings which I just showed before, and down here I can tap on log, which is another part of this settings menu, and you see here are all the events, locking and unlocking and other notifications which were received, and I can choose between only the access events or technical events like battery discharge or other break-in attempt or anything, and here are the all. Okay, and okay, so going into the settings menu again, down here if we choose the access menu, this screen displays, and here we can add a guest user, so we can invite other users to use the lock without administrative rights. Okay, I tap to add user, and we can give any name like John, and the password we can generate a password if we prefer, and we can display it with it's a strong password, but now just for the example we use a weak password. It's easier to display 112233. Okay, yeah, we can hide it with this button, and we also can set some other things regarding the user. For example, if we tap time limited access, we can give a start date, for example today, okay, and also the time from 2:50, and the end of the access date is, let's say, 2004, so 1 year later. Okay, and also we can set the time, anytime, and we also can give an recurring intervals when the user can enter. For example, every Wednesday and Friday from, I don't know, 5 o'clock to midnight. Okay, that's good. And then I can tap add user, and I also can share it via airdrop or message. Or now let's see. We share it to notes. It generates a text with the username and the password and download link of the app. Okay, I tap save, and then we have the user here. John is here, and if we go we tap on that, then we can edit any of these parameters we just set. Okay, add more days and everything, and we can add more recurring enter days, whatever, up to 7 different intervals. And as well, by tapping delete user, we can delete the user, but now we don't want to delete. Okay, we save it, and there's another access we would like to display or show. This is by entering by this fob, and tapping on add the fob, it and tap start pairing mode. The log goes enters into pairing mode, and by pressing one of the buttons of this fob long, it pairs with the log. I'll try again. Yeah, and after it beeps, it's ready. Now I go back to the access main menu, and you see here is the fob we just added. I can name it like fob 1. Okay, save. Or I can delete the fob as well. And as you see, from now I can open the door, the lock, using this fob as well. Okay, so this is the access menu. Okay, so if you want to add more devices, tapping here, we can enter the main menu, and we can tap add devices. By tapping on smart lock, we can add, it's the same, just we added this first lock before, so I don't show it again. It's the same. We can enter lock name and safety code, or read it with the camera, the QR code, and then add another lock. But what I would like to show is adding a gateway. It's a Bluetooth Wi-Fi gateway, which makes the phone capable to reach the lock also outside the Bluetooth range. So now I tap adding gateway, and now I have to press for 5 seconds the button of this Wi-Fi Bluetooth gateway, and as it goes into green, as you see, yeah, it goes into pair mode. If we want to keep the previously added Wi-Fi password or no, if I tap change, then it searches again for all the viable Wi-Fi networks, and by tapping on that, if I type the Wi-Fi password, it works. Or we can add manually other Wi-Fi network if it's a hidden one, but now I go back because is also this we also used before this gateway, so it knows the password for the Wi-Fi. So I just tap next, and it checks if it have any firmware updates or not for the gateway, and then it connects to the gateway after it checked, and it's pairing all the locks which are set in this application via the gateway. Yeah, it takes some seconds. And then if it's done, it says a feedback display. Yeah, I tap done, and now the gateway is added, and then we can reach our lock not only within the Bluetooth communication range, but anywhere from where we have internet access for the phone. Going into this main menu again, within app settings, we can set if we want the app to require authentication, and it means if I switch it on, it asks for face recognition. Yeah, and then if we want to start the app, it asks for the Face ID. Yeah, so this is we switch it off now, but this is yeah, and here there's a help menu as well, and if you go into that, it loads a lot of info about how to use the lock. If you go into this menu, there are sub menus. We don't go through all of these, but it's just a help menu for the user how to use the lock, frequently asked questions, and you also can search here in this help menu. So that's it. Now we show you how to add a lock as a guest user. So we tap the app. This is the start screen, and we not like an administrator, but as an invited guest, we tap here, and we can add the lock name, username, and the password we just received manually, or we can go into this note we just received, and this is the one which we generated before, as you remember, and by clicking on this link, it loads automatically the username, password, and the lock name in, and now by tapping finish, it adds the lock to the app, and just like before, by tapping find, it connects to the lock. Yes, and now I'm able to lock and unlock it. And it's important to show as well that going into the settings menu, as it's not an administrator but only a guest user, the settings is very limited. Only the lock name can be set and username is displayed. Okay, that's it. And if we have an Apple Watch paired to our Apple phone, then by tapping on this app, we see that we can use a very limited function. Just unlock the door or lock the door is the same as happening on the phone. Okay, and that's it what the Apple Watch is able to do.